Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we have a mountain of source material in front of
We
us.
really do.
It covers the entire spectrum of AI development.
Yeah.
And we're moving beyond just, the small iterative changes.
Right.
We're looking at foundational research breakthroughs, massive hardware investments, and maybe most profoundly, how this tech is forcing social media platforms to redefine what real even means anymore.
It really does feel like a flashpoint. On one side, you have this relentless push for, technological perfection.
Hmm.
And on the other, there's this rapidly growing human demand for verifiable reality. And those two forces are just colliding right now.
And that collision is really the core of our mission today. We are going to dive deep into these developments to pull out the key insights for you.
To give you a clear, concise understanding of where the major players are innovating.
Exactly. From the labs of the research giants all the way to the boardrooms in Cupertino. And our goal here is to understand how these changes are going to impact content creation and knowledge acquisition for you throughout 2026.
So our journey is going to start right at that collision point, the social media crisis. We'll look at how one massive platform is reacting to this flood of high-quality AI content.
Then we'll pivot to these two sort of contrasting visions for innovation. You have DeepSeek's radical efficiency in model training versus OpenAI's big high-stakes gamble on voice-first physical hardware.
And then finally, we'll zoom out, we'll broaden the scope to the entire AI ecosystem, rounding up important developments in gaming, benchmarks, market moves, and then we'll give you a list of new tools you can start using today.
Okay, let's unpack this.
Let's do it.
We really have to open with the supreme irony of the moment.
Which is?
The platform that perfected, the filtered, the highly curated aesthetic Instagram is now basically declaring that entire culture dead.
Because of AI.
Because of AI.
Yeah, that's the crux of what the head of Instagram, Adam Mosseri, was saying. He argued that this flood of instantly generated, perfect AI content has completely stripped the value from that curated aesthetic.
The very thing they built their platform on.
The thing they pioneered. If a machine can create a flawless aspirational photo in 2 seconds, well, then flawless aspiration just loses all its weight as, a measure of success or authenticity.
And this isn't just some strategic positioning, is it? This is a direct response to a huge behavioral shift in their core users.
That's exactly right. The internal data apparently suggests that most users under 25 have just abandoned the polished public grid.
Altogether.
Altogether. They're shifting their communication to these incredibly raw, personal, direct message photos and what they're calling unflattering candids.
So they're actively seeking out imperfection.
Because that's the clearest signal of humanness and reality that's left. It's the only thing you can trust.
It's almost a kind of aesthetic exhaustion. People are tired of the perfection arms race, and AI just provided the final bullet to end that whole fight.
Right. So if the content itself is compromised, how does the platform even survive?
That's the question.
Yes, seem to have a multi-pronged response. So on the immediate front, they're enforcing clear labeling for AI-generated content. Okay. They're surfacing more context about who is actually behind user accounts, and they're building internal tools to help, human creators compete against the infinite machine output.
But the really big solution Mosseri floated, that goes way beyond the app, right? It addresses the very fabric of how we capture digital media.
He realized the war on fakes is
Okay, but if we think about the broader implications here, a system that cryptographically ties every single piece of media back to the device and maybe the account owner, that raises huge questions about anonymity and privacy, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
The whole idea of casual, untraceable posting is just over.
That's the tension. You are trading privacy for verifiable reality. And the rapid proliferation of AI has just forced this trade-off onto the public discussion much, much sooner than anyone expected. It completely upends the traditional social media dynamics.
So the platform's value now relies not on the quality of the image,
but on the integrity of the person who posted it. It's a massive societal shift.
That is a powerful place to start. Okay, let's move from that crisis of authenticity to this dual race for advancement that's happening in the labs.
Right.
We're seeing two opposing, but I think equally important paths. The pursuit of core architectural efficiency, and then the grand ambition of physical hardware integration.
These two approaches, they really represent the internal and the external battles of AI, making the engine cheaper and making the interface truly frictionless.
Okay, so on the efficiency front, DeepSeek just introduced some pretty significant research. They're proposing changes to the foundational neural network structures. This is pure optimization.
The breakthrough is centered on a technique they're calling MHC. Now, to give you some context, training these massive AI models, it usually requires immense compute power, and it often faces these instability issues where the models can just break down during long training runs.
Right.
MHC is designed to stabilize and significantly improve that training process at a massive scale. And here is the key. It adds minimal extra computing cost.
So you get stability and high performance, but without the high price tag. I mean, that's why it's a breakthrough, right?
Exactly.
Achieving stability at that scale without adding cost just lowers the barrier to entry so dramatically.
And DeepSeek is treating this as a huge priority. Their CEO, Liang Wenfeng, actually co-authored and personally uploaded the paper to Arshuf.
So this isn't just some side project.
No, this is core to their competitive strategy.
And the results, I assume they back this up.
The testing showed improved benchmark scores over existing methods across small, medium, and large parameter models, so 3B, 9B, up to 27B.
And the improvements were particularly strong in reasoning, I saw.
Yes, particularly significant in complex reasoning tasks, which is usually the most expensive capacity to build.
This research breakthrough it's very consistent with DeepSeek's whole strategy.
It is.
They have a history of delivering near-frontier model performance, but at a fraction of the cost of their U.S. rivals. So how does this fit into, say, the 2026 global competitive landscape?
It highlights a really crucial trend, which is that the cost barrier to entry for building a world-class foundational model is dropping. As global access to advanced chips increases, these efficiency breakthroughs, especially coming from places like DeepSeek and China, it means that competitive models are going to emerge much faster and more affordably. I think 2026 is the year we see true multipolar competition in cutting-edge AI.
Okay, so now let's flip from DeepSeek's internal efficiency to OpenAI's very aggressive push for external integration.
The big hardware bet.
The big hardware bet, led by the legendary designer Jony Ive.
This is their voice-first ambition. Reports are indicating that OpenAI is currently undergoing a big internal restructuring. They're overhauling their audio AI models specifically for this new personal device.
And that's expected to launch in about a year.
Roughly a year from now, yeah.
So why the overhaul? I would have assumed OpenAI's voice capability was already pretty state-of-the-art.
Internally, it seems they realized that their current voice models were lagging behind the speed and accuracy of text-based ChatGPT.
And for a device built entirely around voice, that gap is fatal.
It's fatal. It prompted an internal consolidation of teams to make sure that core capability is flawless before any hardware ships.
If the device is supposed to replace or even supplement the smartphone, that conversational experience has to be radically better than what we have now.
Absolutely. The upgraded model, which is expected in Q1 2026, it aims to solve the biggest friction point in interaction, which is interruption. The goal is to let users talk over the AI mid-response without breaking the conversation flow or confusing the system.
That ability to seamlessly overlap speech,
Yeah.
that's what makes it feel natural.
That's the key to the invisible interface.
And what about the hardware itself, the actual physical device?
The vision, which is being spearheaded by Ive's design firm IO, prioritizes voice over screens. They've discussed different form factors, smart speakers, glasses.
But the common thread is minimizing screen time.
The explicit goal is to avoid smartphone-style addiction. They're trying to create a device that gives you utility without demanding your constant visual attention.
That is a noble design goal, but the graveyard of wearables is very, very real. I mean, besides Apple's history here, what makes this partnership different from the dozens of failed AI accessories we've already seen?
That is the right question to ask. I think the difference is twofold. First, they have the core foundational model, the intelligence, which those earlier devices just didn't have.
Okay.
Second, they have Jony Ive. His collaboration brings this obsessive focus on integrated, minimalist industrial design. If anyone can make an invisible AI useful and beautiful, it's probably him. But until they solve that fundamental problem of daily utility in a non-screen format, it remains maybe the highest stakes hardware gamble in AI today.
That really does wrap up the main updates on these foundational battlegrounds.
Yeah.
So while the Titans are battling over model efficiency and hardware, let's pull the camera back and see what else is bubbling up across the broader AI ecosystem.
Okay, and we'll adopt a slightly slower, more measured rhythm here as we cover the field. Starting with new physical devices, we're seeing the Pickle One AR glasses hit the market.
They're calling that a soul computer. which is
Wow.
quite a label. What is it exactly?
It's a very lightweight, 68 grams aluminum pair of glasses designed as a proactive AI companion. Its function is constant ambient awareness.
So it's always on.
Always on. It captures real-world context through cameras and sensors, and it runs on something called the memory-driven Pickle OS. The goal is to organize your personal habits and captured moments into searchable memory bubbles.
So think of it as a continuously logging, searchable life assistant.
Exactly. Designed to proactively remind you of things based on your real-time environment.
That constant ambient capture certainly connects back to the authenticity crisis we were just talking about. Okay, moving on. There's a really interesting innovation in gaming from NVIDIA. It leverages a pretty clever data source.
This is NVIDIA's open-source release of Nitrogen. It's a foundation model for generalist gaming agents, so basically AI players.
And the innovation is in the training data.
It is. They compiled 40,000 hours of gameplay footage across over 1,000 different video games.
40,000 hours is massive.
Right.
What makes the data storage so clever?
They leveraged YouTube and Twitch videos that already include on-screen controller overlays. These overlays show exactly what inputs, what buttons, what joystick movements the human player is making at any given second. So this provides a readily available pre-labeled source of huge amounts of human input data.
It links the action directly to what's happening in the environment. It cuts out a huge bottleneck in training game AI.
It does. And the result was impressive. Nitrogen achieved up to a 52% relative improvement in task success rates over agents trained from scratch. It just demonstrates that high-quality, cleverly sourced data is still the most powerful differentiator.
We're also seeing acceleration across coding and established benchmarks.
That's right. iQuest Labs just released iQuest Coder V1, and they're claiming it surpasses rivals like Claude Sonnet 4.5 and even GPT 5.1 on several coding benchmarks.
And for you, the learner listening, these benchmarks, like the El Marina 2025 results, they're the industry standard for seeing who is winning the performance race.
And according to those El Marina results, who is leading the pack right now?
It looks like Google's Gemini 3 Pro is currently leading the rankings in text, vision, and search integration. Meanwhile, the VO 3.1 models topped the video generation rankings, which really solidifies the different strengths of the major players.
And finally, we saw some significant movement in the financial markets.
Right, highlighting the infrastructure that's underpinning all this digital growth.
So the Chinese AI startup Kimi showed really robust growth. They raised $500 million in a new Series C round.
Which brings their valuation to a staggering $4.3 billion.
At the same time, SoftBank made a massive strategic play. They're acquiring DigitalBridge for $4 billion.
And DigitalBridge is a major player in digital infrastructure.
The leading investment manager, yeah. This acquisition adds significant data center capacity and physical infrastructure to SoftBank's growing AI portfolio. It just shows that the demand for physical support for data centers, for cloud capacity, is skyrocketing.
It's clear that AI development isn't just about algorithms. It's about physical real estate and massive power consumption. That is a huge amount of information. Now let's pivot and give you, the listener, something you can act on immediately.
Time for today's trending AI tools.
And we'll focus on practical application. Let's group these by function. For creators and editors, we have Quinn Image Layered.
What's that do?
It's an image AI that actually breaks your generated outputs down into editable layers.
Oh, that's fantastic for designers.
It is. You can manipulate individual elements after generation instead of regenerating the whole image. It completely changes the workflow.
Okay, what else?
Then we have the official performance updates, OpenAI's upgraded image system, just called ChatGPT Images, and GLM 4.7, which is ZAI's new state-of-the-art open source model.
What about quick productivity, something that streamlines daily work?
Google Labs has CC. It's an experimental AI productivity agent integrated right into Gmail, meant to handle routine tasks and drafting. And for artists, there's a neat tool called Sketchto. It converts images to sketches and then sketches back to photorealistic images.
So it bridges the gap between concept and final product.
Exactly.
That.
For anyone dealing with information overload, and I think that's most of us after this, there's Liminary.
A memory tool.
It's a memory tool. It uses AI to save and recall pretty much anything. Web pages, notes, quick thoughts in a single click. It's like a centralized, searchable, external brain.
I need that.
For video creators, Unscreen is trending. It removes backgrounds and objects from videos almost instantly. And Go Crazy is an all-in-one platform for making AI videos, images, and voices in seconds.
And finally, for you, The learner, who is focused on knowledge acquisition, what's the best new tool for them?
That would be LearnFlex. It takes your study materials, your PDFs, your notes, your textbooks, and converts them into interactive flashcards, quizzes, and practice tests.
So it turns passive reading into active learning.
Precisely. It helps you process and internalize large volumes of information efficiently. A perfect way to apply the knowledge we've just processed, really.
Turn it into retained knowledge.
So as we step back and synthesize everything we've talked about today, we see these two dominant, almost contradictory themes fighting for control in the AI space.
On one hand, you have the internal pursuit of near-perfect, cheap, and stable efficiency in the core models, like with DeepSeek's MHC research.
The goal is seamless, flawless AI output.
And then running directly contrary to that, you have this necessity of proving authenticity in a world that is just flooded with that perfect output.
Instagram is signaling that the perfect, unverified image is now fundamentally worthless. They're demanding cryptographic proof of reality.
Which creates this unique paradox for companies like OpenAI, doesn't it? They're designing these seamless, invisible AI experiences with their voice devices, where the output has to feel utterly natural to be useful.
But that natural, smooth experience inherently lacks the external, verifiable context that platforms are now demanding.
Exactly.
Which leaves us with our final provocative thought for you to mull over. If the ultimate goal for AI builders is to create these seamless, invisible experiences, like the voice devices OpenAI is designing, but every platform is simultaneously signaling that perfect, unverified content is worthless, where do you draw the personal line between demanding seamless efficiency and needing verifiable reality in your own work and consumption?
That's the balance you'll have to strike as 2026 unfolds.
Keep thinking and keep digging into the sources. We'll see you in the next deep dive.